Hello, Paul here again, and today it's going to be 10 body language activities. And these are if you're teaching or providing training in body language or non-verbal communication, then these activities are going to be useful if you want to use them. And today we're going to go through the activities: gesture freeze, posture check, silent video clip observation, personal space exercise, body language observation walk, and emotion statues. As always, let's get straight into it. Gesture freeze, activity number 1. So you can allow 20-25 minutes for this activity, and I would start by putting people together in pairs, and they're going to talk for 15 minutes. During that 15 minutes, you as the training facilitator or the manager running this training, you're going to ask them to freeze 4 to 5 times during that 15 minutes. So you want to allow them to naturally chat. So they should chat about something maybe to do with work, but something that is interesting to them. So they forget about the exercise, they get involved in the chat, and then you're going to ask them to freeze. So what they're going to do in their pairs when you say the word freeze is look at their partner, and they're going to observe their mannerisms, the facial expression, and what posture are they in at that moment. So they can do this activity standing up or sitting down. But when you say freeze, they're going to make these observations, and then when you say unfreeze, they're going to make notes and write down what they saw. And this is going to happen 4 or 5 times during this 15 minutes. At the end of the 15 minutes chat, you can allow like 5-10 minutes for a class discussion. So what did they notice? What observations overall did they make about the gestures and body language and facial expressions? Activity number 2, posture check. So what we're going to do to start off as the training facilitator is to show participants examples of different postures. Let's just pop across to the blog post so that I can show you the rest of this activity. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the body language activities, all training activities, body language activities. Let's go there. And I'm going to go to the posture check exercise. So, as I've mentioned, start the activity by demonstrating different postures and poses. And you can do these either in person or showing images. And you want to make sure that some of these examples are open and closed postures. So one, for example, showing confidence, and one showing a nervous posture. So for the main part of this activity, we're going to allow 15 minutes, and now ask them to take up what they consider to be a confident posture. So they're more likely to sit up straighter and move their shoulders back and hold their heads high. But you want them to physically experience doing what they consider a confidence posture. Now, after a short time, ask them to do a closed posture. You want them to physically feel this, to really embed this into the mind. The participants will probably lower their heads a little bit, maybe slouch a bit more. They might cross their arms. This is what you want. You want them to consciously be thinking about these differences. Now ask the participants to think about the difference in the two postures and to write down the differences. And then put participants into pairs and ask one person to do a different pose. And they can do like scared or nervous or open. And the other person will observe and write down anything that they note. Then rotate the pairs so that they can do more postures and make more observations. And then to end this activity, let's have a class discussion for 5 minutes and talk about the differences in posture when it comes to communicating that posture makes in communication. Very, very important. Activity number 3, silent video clip observation. The concept here is really, really simple. You're going to show a 3-minute video clip, but you are not going to play it with sound. So it'll be with no sound. You turn the sound off. So this is all about watching a 3-minute video clip and can they tell what the story is? So after the 3 minutes is up, you want them to write down in as much detail as they can what they think the story was about. The 3-minute video clip, you can decide it could be from TV. Try to make it something that they wouldn't have already seen. After they've written down what they think it is, replay the same story, the same 3-minute clip, but with the sound turned on. And then have a quick discussion as a class, as a group. What are the differences between what they perceived the story was about and what the story was actually about? They might get it quite correct or they might get it completely wrong. But they would have had to use the non-verbal communication in the video clip to try and work out what the sound is. So they're probably going to realize this. You might want to show 3 clips, 2 or 3 clips. It really all depends how long you have for this activity. Activity number 4, the personal space exercise. I would suggest allowing 20, 25, 30 minutes. 25 minutes is good. You will need a spacious room for this. So if you don't have the space, activity number 4 is probably not the best choice. But if you have the space, this is a great activity. It's quite thought-provoking, really quite an interesting exercise. So you're going to put people into pairs, and what you're going to have them do is you're going to have one person stand statically, and then you're going to have the other person gradually edge towards them, one step at a time. At the point where they feel uncomfortable, they should say stop to the partner. So what you're going to do then, have the person who stopped, have them mark exactly where they stopped, maybe with a piece of paper or a bit of tape on the floor if it's appropriate. And then you're going to rotate them so the person who was walking will now stand exactly in the same spot where their partner was, and they're going to do the same exercise. How close will they go before they feel that they need to stop? What is the difference in the space that they both chose? Get people to do this maybe 2 or 3 times with different partners. It really gives them an understanding of how and what level of personal space they need. And it's going to be different for each participant. Have the class discuss this at the end and the differences in personal spaces. It's a very simple exercise, but it's quite surprising how thought-provoking this is. Activity number 5, body language observation walk. You will need at least 30 minutes for this because they're going to go out into the public domain, into a public place. I would suggest putting people into groups of 3. As I say, they're going to be observing real people in real situations. It's important to know that our participants do not invade other people's spaces, do not take photographs when people do not want to be photographed. So having respect for the people they're going to be observing is important. The participants should take notebook and pen, and they're going to go to a public space. It could be a park, it could be a shopping mall. They should note any gestures, any body language observations, and then after the 30 minutes, come back to the classroom. And as a class, as I say, with most of these activities, they can have class discussion, and there's going to be quite a few observations that some you expect, some you don't. It's really quite an interesting activity. That's number 5. Activity number 6, emotion statues. This might initially seem like it's going to be a little bit like the postures exercise before, but this is different. Allow maybe 20-25 minutes for this activity. And beforehand, as the training facilitator, as the trainer, you're going to need to write down a bunch of emotions on cards. So write one emotion on one piece of card or on a slip of paper as you wish. So what you can do then is split the class into 2 groups, and then you're going to have the people in one group each grab a card or a slip of paper with an emotion on it. So if you have 20 people in the class, there's going to be 10 people in this group, and those 10 people are each going to pick an emotion, so there's going to be 10 emotions. And when you say the word statues, these 10 people with the emotion, they need to act out that emotion by standing and trying to show that emotion. And then the other group, they must walk around and write down what emotions they thought that each of the people in the other group who are doing the emotions, what emotions they are trying to act out. And then you can tell the people who are doing the emotions to relax. And then the people who wrote down the emotions must read out what they think each of the people who were showing the emotions was acting out. How accurate were they? How difficult or easy was it to show these emotions? It just makes it more thought-provoking and conscious for people to be more aware of the emotions and how they show emotions. A very useful activity. Well, okay, that's it. 6 activities to do with body language and non-verbal communications. Just a reminder, in case you didn't know, we sell teaching, training course materials on body language and non-verbal communication. I will leave a link to that below on this video. And also I want to say, there will be other activities online, of course. I'm adding stuff every week. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Every week I'm putting something live. See you soon.